Kia ora tamariki mā, and welcome back to The Word. One of my favourite stories from the Bible when I was a kid was about a guy named Daniel. Daniel and his friends had some mean-as adventures, but they also had some pretty tough things happen to them when they were young. You see, they were a part of God's family that was captured from Jerusalem and taken as prisoners to live in a different place, far, far away from home, named Babylon. Today, we call this place Iraq. It must have been hard for Daniel. Everything was different in Babylon, from the way they dressed to what they ate, and definitely how they worshiped God. Even though this time was really difficult for him, Daniel made the choice, both in his heart and in his head, to stay pure and stick to the values he'd been taught back home in Jerusalem. He knew he always wanted to put God first, and that meant he had to try to follow all of God's values, even in this strange new land. Daniel could tell this wasn't going to be easy. It wasn't that he was being treated badly in Babylon. In fact, he and his friends got to live at the palace and go to school and learn. They were given what looked like really fancy foods to eat and flash-as drinks. But Daniel knew this wasn't how God had asked his whānau to live. They'd been given some values to live by, and back home these were easier to follow because just about everyone was living by them. Here it was different. The people of Babylon didn't understand. "You're joking, right? Why wouldn't you want to eat our food and drink our drink? It's the best in the world." How could Daniel help them understand that keeping his heart pure was important? You see, the attendants were worried that Daniel and his friends, if they didn't eat the food, they would become weak and get sick, and then they wouldn't be able to focus on their learning and training. Daniel had a brainwave. "What if you give us like a 10-day trial? During the 10 days, me and my friends will only eat vegetables and we'll only drink water. At the end of the 10 days, you can line us up next to all the others and compare how healthy we are." The attendant agreed, and so for 10 days, Daniel and his friends only ate veggies and they only drank water. All this time, they kept praying to God and kept their focus on Him. At the end of the 10 days, they were all lined up, and what do you know? Daniel and his friends looked healthier and stronger than all the others. Their attendants also noticed that their brains were sharp and they were remembering all of their lessons. So it was agreed that they could continue to be true to the values that they had lived by back at home, and as they did, God honored Daniel for his obedience. Daniel grew strong and capable, but he always remembered to honor God and follow Him. He prayed every day. Actually, he prayed 3 times a day, and this helped him to stay strong spiritually. Daniel's heart remained close to God, and God continued to provide for and protect Daniel and his friends, even when they were thrown in the fiery furnace and when Daniel came face to face with some hungry lions. I think Brentley and Missy are going to tell us some more about this story in the deep dive. As lifelong followers of Jesus, it's not always easy to live God's way, loving Him and loving others. It's not always easy to keep our hearts pure. Daniel kept his heart focused on God when he knew that following others was going to pull him further away from what he believed. Maybe you have a situation like that in your life. It probably won't be about what you're eating or drinking, but maybe it's about how you treat people or how you show respect. I wonder how different life would be for you if you stand up for what you know is right.